everyone, I am here today with part 1 in I don't even know how many parts book haul. I've not filmed a book haul since beginning of September, which was my August book haul, so basically in the next few weeks I need to get you caught up on what I bought in October, what I bought in November, September as well, and also what I got as review copies. And some of these months I've behaved myself, others of the months I've got a little bit carried away, and the problem is I've now got to haul all these books ASAP. Rather than have some months being ridiculously long and some being short, I'm just going to sort of section these book hauls up into however many sections it takes until they aren't ridiculously big. So, in this part, I'm going to haul all of the books that I purchased on my Kindle in September and October. And it's a sensible amount, I feel. I've just counted and it's only 22 books. If you think about it, that's like 11 a month that I bought, which is, it's better than I was doing. So, let's get stuck into the books. The first book that I have to talk to you about today is Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. And this is a historical fiction. And I've only read one book by this author, which was The Other Boleyn Girl. But I really enjoyed it, and I've been sort of collecting her books ever since with the intention of I'll get to them someday, and indeed that's the logic I'm now going with, I'll get to them someday. But I really, really enjoy Philippa Gregory's writing. I really enjoy historical fiction anyway, and The Tudors is like some of my favourite time, which is when a lot of her books are based. And indeed, this one is no exception. This one is also set in Tudor times, so I cannot wait to pull this one out of my TBR bag one day. Next we have Dany, Champion of the World by Roald Dahl. And last year, the year before, I don't remember anymore. Last year I think I was doing a sort of Roald Dahl read along with Caris, and we, kept it up for several months, then it just sort of filtered out. That's something that I'm a little bit annoyed with myself about, because how difficult was it for me to just pick up one Roald Dahl book a month? It's not difficult. I have also realised that I still don't own all the Roald Dahl books that I would like to own, and so I went on a bit of a Kindle binge in September, getting some of the Roald Dahl books that I don't own and would like to. So Dany the Champion of the World is one of them. I also managed to pick up The Magic Finger, which is like a classic. I've not read that since I was a really little child, so I'm really excited to pick that up sometime. And I also got Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I recently watched the film of this. The, can't think what type of, animated, not animated, I don't know. I can't do English today. But the film was really, really good. I think it got George Clooney narrating as Mr. Fox, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've not read it again since I was a child, so I'm desperate to pick this up too. That brings me to the end of my Roald Dahl binge. And then the next book I have to talk to you about is Dear Dad by Giselle Green. And this is described as being a sweet romantic comedy about life, love, and what it really means to care about people. Then we have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Kesey. And I've never read this. I did watch the film, I think it was in my psychology class at school. We watched the film, so I've got an idea of what it's about, but I'd really like to read the book sometime. I think the book would probably mess with my head quite a bit. And this is also a sort of Penguin modern classic, so it's a must-read, I feel. A modern classic is you must-read. Next we have Cruel Summer by Juno, Dawson, and this one's a compelling psychological thriller with a dash of romance. I'm not looking into it anything more than that. I don't want to know anything more about it as a psychological thriller. Then I bought a few books in a series because I read the first one, did I read it in August? Possibly, to have gone on this binge. Earlier this year anyway, somewhere around the summertime, I read a book in this series. I can't remember what it was called. But it was the first book in the Irish Family Saga series by Reinhardt, and I really enjoyed it. So first chance I got, I went and just bought the rest of the series basically. So I got A Year of Broken Promises, A Turning of the Tide, A Legacy of Secrets, A Prodigal Return, A Time to Make Amends. And yeah, that's a lot. So I think I've bought all of the series that's currently out. If I haven't, then it'll be because for some reason I couldn't get it cheap compared to the rest. So I may be buying more books in that series if it's not done. I can't remember. Sorry, don't shoot me. Then I bought Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer, which is the first book in the Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard series by Rick Riordan. I own quite a few Rick Riordan books now. I've not read any of them. Yes, that includes Percy Jackson. One day. Then we have Keeper of the Light, which is the first book in the Keeper of the Light trilogy by Diane Chamberlain. And I've read another book by this author. Again, what was it called? My brain's just not switched on today. I think it was Breaking the Silence. But I absolutely adored that book. I really, really enjoyed it. And so I've since then been accumulating more Diane Chamberlain books. Next we have The Orphans Tale by Pam Jenoff. Not entirely sure why I bought this one. So it does look really interesting. I don't know where I would have heard of it though. It says, in Nazi-occupied Holland, 17-year-old Noah snatches a baby from a train bound for the concentration camps, fleeing with him into the snowy wilderness surrounding the train tracks. Passing through the woods is a German circus led by heroic Herr Neuhoff. They agree to take in Noah and the baby on one condition: to earn her keep, Noah must master the flying trapeze under the tutorage of mysterious aerialist Astrid. Soaring high above the crowds, Noah and Astrid must learn to trust one another or plummet. But with the threat of war closing in, loyalty can become the most dangerous trait of all. That sounds a really interesting read. Next we have Fire and Ice by J.A. Jantz. I've read one book by this author in the past, which led to me doing a bit like with many other books in this haul, just collecting anything and everything else I can get by this author. So yeah, I don't know what this is about. It's in a completely different series to the book that I'd even read, I think, anyway. Same story with here, another one by the same author, Betrayal of Trust. Then we have Magisterium, The Silver Mask, which is the fourth book in the Magisterium series by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. And I've already read this one, absolutely adored it, possibly my favourite of the series so far. I have briefly reviewed this book in a reading wrap-up, so I'll leave that linked up in the cards and also down below in the description in case you want to check that out. But yeah, I love this series so much. If you haven't checked it out yet, you really need to. It's a middle grade magic sort of series that resembles Harry Potter a little bit in the first book, but it's just because it's set in a magical school. That's all the similarity. Well, no, they're also a trio of friends, 2 boys, 1 girl, another similarity, but it stands up in its own right. It's a really, really fantastic and entertaining and thrilling read. Next we have Final Girls by Riley Saga, and this book's been getting quite a lot of hype over BookTube the last couple of months, I feel. And this was a psychological thriller, so I've tried to sort of keep an eye on reviews, but at the same time not really sort of have a clue what goes on with this one. Next we have The Rats by James Herbert, and this has been on my wish list for ages, and I noticed it dropped to 99p, and I'm not actually even sure what it's about anymore because I've had it on here for that long. It says, it was only when the bones of the first devoured victims were discovered that the true nature and power of these swarming black creatures with their razor-sharp teeth and the taste for human blood began to be realised by a panic-stricken city. For millions of years, man and rats had been natural enemies, but now, for the first time, suddenly, shockingly, horribly, the balance of power had shifted. So that sounds quite a messed up book. I love a good messed up book. Then I, for some reason, decided to buy a Christmas book, and this was at the end of the October that was. Oh, I know why. It's because it's a Lucy Daniels book. Okay, so Christmas at the Mistletoe Cottage, which is book 2 in the Hope Meadow series. I bought book 1 a few months ago, and it's actually been picked out as a TBR bag pick as well, so that is waiting on my Kindle to be read. But yeah, I bought book 2. Lucy Daniels is the author who did the Animal Ark series, which I read and adored as a child, so I'm really excited to pick up more works by her. Next we have Burton and Swinburne in The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack, and this is by Mark Hodder. And I don't really actually properly know what this is about, but it seems to be a historical fiction. That's sort of all I really know. And that was actually, I'm really surprised that caught me really off guard, that was actually the end of this part of the haul. So yeah, as I said, this is part 1. I don't know how many parts there are going to be, but they will be going up every Wednesday, so just keep an eye out for them, and hopefully I get to them all before the end of December, so I don't have to start trying to haul these in the new year. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me to say if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!